great preacher. Publishing Board, Bishop F.D. Washington.
On behalf of the National Publishing Board and the young men of our church, we stand with broken hearts and saddened spirits. But we thank God for such a leader that has opened the gates of opportunity and made this the most militant, aggressive, and progressive church in the world. A church that gives opportunity to young men, that their potentialities can be crystallized into realities and give them their rightful nick in life in the church. For it did say old men for counsel and young men for war. Bishop Mason is my inspiration. I knew that it's a good time to confess, and I've confessed it before. Almost 11 years ago, when I was in a rut, and the Lord faced me face to face and said, "Didn't you know that Bishop Mason was just about your age when he made unconditional surrender? And what could you be if you give yourself wholly to God?" It challenged me so until I told my wife and my church, I'm going to the church and I'm not coming out until something happened to me. I came to the convocation that year. I was appointed the president of the publishing board. And Bishop Williams told me, he said, "FD, said, don't care what the council have done, you better go get Dad's blessings." My wife and I went on 1121 Mississippi Avenue in his little office, and we bowed on our knees, and he blessed me. And I've been blessed ever since. Don't tell me that God cannot use his servant to bless you. Bishop Mason was a divine blessing. And in behalf of the publishing board, I think this was his dream. I'm happy that he lived to see part of it finished. I see him now in my memory, standing with the shovel in his trembling hands, out before the proposed prospective publishing house. It was his dream. And I do hope that now that the publishing board, and not only the board, but every member of the Church of God in Christ, the only way that we can effectively propagate and perpetuate his doctrine and philosophy is to disseminate the teachings and the preachings, and his interpretations should be written in every dialect and circulated to every nation in the world. I am so sorry that we were thoughtless to not take many of his sermons because they can never be duplicated. No living soul can preach like he preached, nor give the unction and the revelation that God gave him. I'm sorry we lost some of them and most of them, but I'm glad his voice is not completely hushed, for there are records now being circulated with his prayers. I heard one Sunday night and it broke my heart. It sounded as if he was standing here, and I hope we will send it all over the world. And as I close, I thought of the man that was on the sinking ship on Lake Michigan. And as the ship was sinking, he was a man that could swim. And he saw people being drowned in the gurgling waters. He rescued one and carried them to the shore. He swam back and rescued another and took them to the shore. On and on until 5 he rescued. His body was tired. His nerves were distracted. His muscles were contracting. The cramps were setting in. But he saw a poor mother sinking in the gurgling waters. And because of the instinctiveness within him to save bodies, with his efforts and last ounce of strength, he went back to save this dying mother. And with his arms trembling, weak and tired, he brought her back to the shore. And when he laid down on the shore, he expired and went to heaven. He said that when he came to the portals of glory and the gates swung wide on golden hinges, there was a quandary in heaven as to how shall we crown this man. Shall we put the moon at his feet and the sun at his head? He raised up and said, no, just crown me as one that did his best.